So, in my paper, I learned about how coastal fog events benefit redwood trees and how, in turn, that influences the soil plant atmosphere continuum, or the SPAC, which I'll begin to talk about now. Really, this relationship is the way in which plants interact with the atmosphere and the soil to exchange gases and water and make energy. And these original assumptions were that leaf wetting events were generally harmful for a plant because it can disrupt photosynthesis and growth and damages the leaf, and also that water in the soil was the only source of water for the plant, meaning that water movement through the plant only goes one way, from the soil to the plant's roots and stems and leaves, and finally through transpiration to the atmosphere. Through kind of this image here, this is what would have been thought of correct as the only water movement in a plant. And so researchers at UC Berkeley disproved both of these ideas in two experiments. And in the first, their field experiment, they measured the water content of two mature redwood trees in a forest during a coastal fog event. And they found leaf water potential, which is basically an indicator. If leaf water potential is low, then water stress is high of the tree's branchlets. And basically measuring the water stress of each tree before, during, and after the coastal fog event is what they did. Then in the second experiment, they measured the water and gas content of young individual redwoods in a greenhouse exposed to different soil measures and soil moistures and fog levels. And this was necessary to see the real differences in the tree's responses to changing conditions, as the first experiment didn't have a large enough sample size. And so basically this is some data regarding the first experiment showing trees 1 and 2. And tree 1, which was the tree that was exposed to more fog, provided evidence against the initial pattern observed in tree water potential. And basically, it showed that with fog, the water potential exceeds the maximum at dawn and then barely declines from it throughout the day due to the fog exposure. And then in the second experiment, they found that fog interception in the top part of the tree increased the water potential above the water potential in plants when there's only root water uptake at nighttime. And they also found that stomatal conductance and photosynthesis were higher in trees that experienced fog. And so this is some data from the second experiment that shows these three different groups of 12 young redwoods: the control group, the fog group, and the dry down group. And their pre-dawn water potential, midday water potential, photosynthesis, stomatal conductance. As you can see, the control and fog trees consistently stay much higher than the dry down. The significance of this is that both experiments show that leaf water uptake provides another water source for the plant, and this separates the plant's top part of its crown water status from the soil water available, and this also benefits the plant's gas conductance. And then, if this is true, the maximum water capacity of the plant can be higher than what was previously thought possible by the original model that we talked about earlier. And researchers from the study then proposed that the movement of water in a plant is continuous and not just one way. And this means that the previous model can't fully describe a plant's water relations and growth only regarding the soil water taken up, and there needs to be new research that investigates leaf moisture in other plant species and how that can benefit water retention, growth, and even carbon relations.